Hello, everyone. This is Ron from DroneNation, episode number 5. How is everybody doing tonight? We got a big show for you tonight. One of our topics is with a broken heart. I give you the bad news that the CEO of Parrot claims they're no longer making consumer drones. So our little Anafi, which I'll get it out later, is last in the line. So we're going to, talk about that tonight and maybe the state of the union in consumer drones altogether. But I got my co-host Marcus Crawford here with me tonight, and DeMarco Moore is going to join us. So it's going to be a lively show tonight. We're going to kind of break the summer heat wave here. I know people have been hot across the country. Some people have been dealing with Hurricane Hannah, but we're gonna fix all to that tonight. So I'm going to throw it over to my co-host, better known as the last man in the U.S. to receive his FIMI X8 2020. Marcus, what is the status of your drone order?
Well, I have some news, actually.
Breaking news, folks.
And Ron and I spoke this morning, so this is, and I didn't know it when I spoke to Ron, so Ron's going to hear this live and in color as well. My FIMI X8 SD is in FedEx's hands. Now, it's kind of interesting. I was just looking at the specs. Today is the 27th. Banggood told me that they shipped it on the 15th. So it took 12 days for FedEx to get it. I don't know what's going on there, but FedEx tracking says that I should have it by Wednesday. So again, yes, I feel like that probably makes me the last man in the United States to get their FIMI X8 SE 2020.
And once your order is complete, the shipping people at Banggood can take a long break, knowing that Marcus Crawford has been served and all the orders are up to date.
Yeah, they will be able to rest easy. So other news, I Ron and DeMarco, you guys know that I am always on a search to find an entry-level drone for people that aren't sure if they want to get into the hobby. Under $200, right? Something around $150 that somebody can buy. You don't expect a lot of range. You don't expect, DJI video quality. But in my mind, it has to be a good GPS drone, stable. You have to get out at least a couple hundred meters, okay, preferably further than that. But more than that, it has to have stable video. And by that, I mean no shakes, jello-free, even if it's 1080p, not the highest quality, at least stable, to give somebody that's just getting into the hobby an opportunity to say, hey, I like this or I don't like this. So I have right here the XK, and I always forget the number. It is the X1S drone, and supposedly it has a 2-axis gimbal. I haven't opened the box yet, so I don't really know. But supposedly it has a 2-axis gimbal, and it's a GPS drone. So it appears to be a clone of a WL Toys. I can't remember the model number of that one, but we'll see. And if it's a piece of junk, trust me, I will tell you it's a piece of junk. The other thing that's going on in my department, I made a video recently on the Rode wireless mic, and unfortunately the Rode wireless mic is no longer with me. I actually sold it on eBay.
Oh.
The issue with that thing for me was, the reason that I wanted it was so that when I'm making a video, I could walk away from the microphone that's on the camera. Say if I'm doing a follow me function with the drone or walking out in the field to demonstrate something with the drone, I wanted to be able to have that, take that audio with me. Well, it just didn't work. The Rode mic just didn't work. If you turn your back, if I had it clipped to the front and I turned my back to the receiver that was on the camera, it would lose connection. And even just not being very far away. You'd lose connection with that wireless part of it. So anyway, I sold that. So that's what's going on with me.
Marcus, most people have range issues with drones. You have range issues with microphones.
Well, it's just part of the quality when you're making a video. You want people to be able to hear what you say, and I like to narrate as I'm making the video. I know a lot of people will overdub the narration over the top of it, and that's great. I like that too, but I think part of my shtick, my deal, is that I narrate as I do it. If I make a mistake, you see it. If I do something good, you see it. If I stumble over something, you see that too as we go.
Hey, just to clarify a little bit here. Now, did the Rode mic not get the stated range, or were you trying to push it beyond its boundaries?
Well, I think it probably would get close to its range as long as you were in direct line of sight with the receiver.
Gotcha. So you could not make any turns, like
if I turned my back to the receiver, even just
like if you had it on your shirt collar, you'd have to keep facing the receiving unit.
Exactly. That is absolutely correct.
Okay.
The sound quality I thought was pretty good. I was pretty impressed with the sound quality of it. So I think, for a lot of people it probably worked fine. It just didn't work for me. Now what you've seen in the past in my videos is I end up, when I'm walking away from the camera, I get the audio off of my smartphone. I do a screen recording and it captures audio. And that's just fine as long as there's no wind. But if there's wind, there's nothing on the iPhone to stop that from obliterating the sound.
And you don't have a little lapel mic that you can put up there with a little wind muff on it.
Well, my iPhone is already connected to whatever drone controller, so I don't know
Gotcha. So you don't make that happen, right?
Yeah.
So you need to get a second iPhone just as a audio recorder.
Well, I thought about that. Or Sony makes a really nice portable audio recorder that you could put a lavalier mic. So I don't know. I'm still trying to figure that out. And I know there's some other, I think, more professional wireless.
Yeah, what the company Shure that makes kind of microphones that actually musicians use. I think they have wireless microphones that have 3 times the advertised range as the Rode, but I still don't know if that'll alleviate your issue of not having direct line of sight the whole time.
Well, I've noticed those. Many of them have a little antenna on them, which would probably help. Ron, I'm like you. I just don't know. And I also know that they're quite a lot more expensive. So,
folks, sorry we turned into this week in audio.
Yeah.
Well, Marcus, we better get off audio, or the drone people are all going to go over to the next show.
Yeah. But I am looking forward to getting that X8 SE in hand and comparing it with the 2018 version. I'm going to be flying the heck out of that thing.
We're all looking forward to you getting that in hand and doing, because nobody did more for the original X8 than you did, Marcus. You received that thing about the time we started doing DroneNation, and you probably made more videos on that than anybody else on YouTube. So it's ironic that you're the last person to get the next model. Obviously, somebody it's Banggood. It's not DME.
It's Banggood. Yeah, it's not Banggood, and what's odd about the way they ship is, I ordered mine on the 4th of April, so I'll get it on the 29th of December. So almost, not quite, about a week short of 4 months. As I know, there's people in the chat that have them. I know Michael Wright got his, and he ordered I think a week after I did or something like that. But he got his about a week ago. So it's funny the way they ship. And there were people that had ordered like a month later from the U.S. warehouse, and they got theirs in that first little batch that went out. So there's just no rhyme or reason.
I think I see one reason. I just speculate. The people that paid more for it, the people that paid $350 for it, seem to get pushed to the back end. The people that paid over $400 to $500 got it faster.
Yeah, very, very possible. Yeah, and Stephen Ewing, I've been thinking about a megaphone. There you go. I could just controller in one hand, megaphone in the other.
Yeah, just have the the Scudio follow you around and pick have a Michael on that or something or whatever. But anyhow, we beat this one to a dead horse. Marcus, I know he has at least one video directly in the road, and then he has a couple other videos where he's using the road. So go over, check those videos out and channel if you still have any you want to know more about the road. So let's move on to our good friend DeMarco Moore, one of the original Xeno 1 owners or whatever, and one of the first people to sell them too. But how have you been, my friend? We haven't had you on for a while. What have you been up to?
Not much. No new drones. A couple.
What's the last drone you picked up?
The Mavic Air 2.
Wait, wow.
The Mavic Air 2.
You don't need much after that.
No, I think what Marcus said earlier about always trying to give somebody some good options who are getting into the drone hobby, and this is the the Christmas of 2018. So I had just gotten back into the drone hobby, and I recommended that go. It never ends. I recommended to my neighbor that he buy that Ishin E58. It was that micro,
yep,
that Mavic Pro drone clone. And now looking back on that, a year and a half later, I'm like, what was I thinking? Why did I tell him to buy that? But at the time I didn't know either. So
yeah,
people thought it was a good little drone for the money, that Ishin E58.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but now, I'm gonna have people ask me now, and I tell people, do not go to Walmart and buy one of those, $30 or $40 drones, $50 drones, $100 drones, because they're not any good, and they'll just ruin the hobby for you too. So, yeah.
That's my concern, DeMarco. What I don't want somebody to do is buy some piece of junk, and then they think, well, all these drones are garbage, and they don't. Anyway, I'm not going to try to
DeMarco, Michael Ray has a question for you on the screen.
I know, I was typing to him. Not yet. I'm going back and forth. This is a tough one. I keep going back and forth on that smart controller. I was seconds away of pulling the trigger, and then I was like, well, let me look at a tablet. Let me do some research on a tablet though. So,
hey, Mike. As soon as what's called DJI, as soon as they drop that firmware update for the Mavic Air 2 to work with the smart controller, that may get DeMarco more motivated. Somebody else's smart controller arrived.
Yeah,
DeMarco.
Yeah, you see,
DeMarco.
It looks like it's still in the shrink wrap there.
It's still in the wrap.
It is. Yeah, refurbished though.
It's all right.
Yeah.
That's new to me.
Yes, exactly. Well, I'll tell you, I'll be honest with you. I bought it knowing that we're going to be able to use it on the Mavic Air 2. So I'm pretty excited about that. You fly in the bright sun, DeMarco, so
Yeah. And here, I'll tell you this. I really, really wanted, I've looked at cases even, because I've got the Nanook cases for my Mavic 2.
Yep.
And I've got the 920. So the Nanook 925 is what you would need for the power controller.
So folks, anybody looking for the 920 case, go to DeMarco Moore eBay page in the near future.
I would sell it though. But I wish I could get the foam and just put it in there though. But it's just a little bit small.
Yeah. But that's kind of a first world issue, huh? You got the smart controller, doesn't fit your case. Get the violins out, but yeah, I ordered the Mavic 2 Pro with the smart controller, so I got the case of the smart controller from the get go. So lucky on that
one. But since we last spoke, I got my Mavic Air 2, and man, knowing what I know now, of course. That drone does everything I need it to do. I'm not selling my pictures. I'm not posting videos online that much and everything. That thing is great. In fact, I flew it Saturday night, and let's see, I flew my Mavic 2 Zoom on Friday night, and I prefer the Mavic Air more than my.
I'm not going to argue with you. It's a real toss up for me too.
Yeah, I mean that thing is just. But Marcus, back to what you're saying, it's someone who's just getting into the hobby. It is hard to recommend, their first drone. It's for me personally, it's hard to recommend that they get a Mavic Air 2, an $800 drone.
Yeah, DeMarco, I've been saying for a while, I hate to recommend the Mavic Mini to somebody because,
$400.
They'll get it for $400, but they'll have it for maybe 6 months and they'll realize, oh, I love drones, but I need something just a little bit nicer than this. I need more range. I need a better camera. And then they have to go out and spend another $800 on the Air 2s. Now they've got $1,200 invested. Maybe they should just skip the Mini and going right to the Air 2 and not made 2 drone purchases in the same year.
Well, yeah. Go ahead, Marcus. I'm sorry.
Well, I was going to say that I think it depends on dollars too, right? Because not everybody has $800. So here's what I would tell somebody in that situation: if you have $250, buy the original Xeno. If that's all you got, if that's the max of your budget, if you've got $400, for sure it's the Mavic Mini. If that's the max of your budget, if you've got a little bit more and you can stretch into that $800 Mavic Air 2, absolutely, that is you could start with that drone and be just fine. I mean, somebody that's never flown a drone before could pick up the Mavic Air 2 and figure it out and be just fine.
Yeah.
Now, what do you guys think?
No, that's the same way I think. In fact, I'll take it a step lower too. If you have $150, I would get, from what my experience with it, I might have a Bugs 5W, and it's a great flyer. The camera's not great, but that thing is fast. It goes out far. For $150 bucks, I buy that, and you get 3 batteries with it, and then I would go up to the Xeno, and then I would go up to the Mavic Mini. $400 is just a lot to start for, especially like when your budget's lower than that too. It's just hard to, for someone new getting into it though to actually buy. But like $800 for your first drone, wow, that's I mean.
I agree. But again, if you buy a cheaper drone, you quickly outgrow it. You kind of bought 2 drones. And back to Marcus's point, so I run into plenty of people say, "Well, I don't have $800 to spend on a drone," and I understand, and they get something cheaper. But next time I see them 6 months to a year later, they'll have 2 or 3 drones or whatever that cost more than the amount of money they told me they couldn't afford on that first drone or whatever. Mm-hmm. So I don't understand the thinking that buying 3 cheaper drones is somehow less than just buying the better drone right off the bat.
Hey, so we don't want to forget, both Sam Burns, Daniel Taramina, and Bill the Drone Reviewer are saying that don't forget the FIMI X8 SE 2020. And I agree. You could pick that up for about $400. So I would say that would depend on the individual. If it was somebody brand new, though, it depends on how technical they were. It would depend on the situation, and would also depend on the use case. If they were worried about flying in higher wind situations and things like that, absolutely the FIMI. If not, the Mini. So it's a good point.
Yeah, the thing about the FIMI and even the Xeno too, what actually worries me about recommending those is getting them fixed. So if something breaks on them, or like when you break it, it's like, oh, well.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, you're absolutely right, DeMarco. You made a very good point there, because Mavic Mini, I guarantee you there's a lot of drone shops that could fix that for you. But that FIMI X8 SE, yeah, and parts are available, but yeah, it isn't the same. That's very true.
Well, folks, we've been keeping you waiting for the whole show. We're on 21 minutes now, and we're going to get to the sad news. Everybody, raise a flag or something. Last week, Parrot's current CEO, and I forget his name. I should have this news story up on the screen, but I don't. He was at some kind of a drone conference, and a reporter asked him, a direct question. They said, is Parrot still in the consumer drone market? And he said, no, we're not in the consumer drone market anymore. So there won't be a Parrot Anafi 2 or 3 or anything else in the foreseeable future, unless the CEO gets canceled or a new CEO decides to bring it back. But the Anafi is already a what we would call it, a discontinued drone. I don't know if it'll be receiving any more firmware updates. And DeMarco's Parrot probably also is discontinued. I don't know if it'll be getting any more firmware updates either.
Doubt it.
DeMarco, everybody knows what Marcus side they have the Anafi, but what is that drone you have in front of you?
This was their first drone. So I think it was introduced in 2010.
2010.
AR drone. So
the AR. What did the AR stand for? I remember that name. Did that stand for anything?
Check out the box. The box was nice. It's a huge box that came.
Wow, that's like a Phantom 4 box.
Yeah. And then it came with this indoor.
Holy cow!
Helpers.
Let's see if I can get it right here. Yeah. That's right. See, it's all broken up right here.
So that had a bigger footprint than a Phantom.
Oh, it's huge. It's huge.
Can you imagine that thing? Can you imagine taking that to the park, Marcus?
Oh man, you'd be the star. That's for sure. There'd be people chasing. Oh my God, it's a drone! It's gonna.
It's one of those military drones.
Yeah. Hey,
there was a camera here.
Is that 4K?
No, it's not 4K. It's not HD. And these were the what do you call those? What
optical flow?
Facing.
Yeah.
Optical flow, and then
so it knows where it is.
Yeah.
I got this for Christmas of 2012. My wife paid $300 for that.
Wow.
No controller.
Hey, Rod, there's a message from Lauren in the chat. Did you happen to see that?
Oh, okay. You guys keep going. I'll find it.
Okie dokie. Yeah. So the question is, what's going to happen with these? I mean, we're speculating. Will they? How long will they still support it? Right. If they're not going to do consumer drones anymore, probably there won't be any more firmware updates. Although, gee whiz, if it stopped right where it's at, it's an awesome drone. Yeah. So will they become a collector's item? I don't know. There's probably thousands of them out there. But it's a sad day because we were all the only negative. There's really only one negative that I can say about this drone, and that is the FPV drops out sooner than you would like in urban environments range. It is subject to Wi-Fi interference. You don't lose the control signal, but often you'll lose the FPV signal. I've had it as little as 300 meters out. You would lose the FPV, and that is the only downside I can say to this guy. And I've when you're out in the country with it, where there's no Wi-Fi interference, this thing is awesome. I've had it out like 1.5 kilometers before, which is as far as I need to go with a drone. I can tell you that.
Marcus is right. It doesn't compare the DJI drones as far as range of transmission signal, but it's not that far off other drones.
How much is it? How much is it, Marcus? How much was it anyway?
Recently, I had a Woot link. Johnny Drone Flyer got it for, I believe, $359 off of Woot about 2 weeks ago.
Right. But it's about. Ron and I paid about $425 or $420. Ron, I believe
somewhere between maybe close to $450, but yeah.
But when it was introduced, the retail was $699. I think it got down to about $599, and it's gone on sale here or there. Johnny Drone Flyer says $359 is what he paid for his, which is which is great. So yeah, I mean, it is just a phenomenal little piece of technology, and it's just sad to see that Parrot is going to get out of that business.
Did he say why too, or he just said no?
Just the usual corporate BS about focusing on what enterprise drones.
That money, take that money.
Well,
he should have been honest and said, "Hey, but listen, we don't feel like compete with DJI in this consumer space. It's easy to compete with them in the enterprise space because we're going to sell it to the U.S. and the U.S. doesn't like DJI. I mean, it makes sense, but it also doesn't make sense. How hard would it be to stay in the consumer market?
I just, Ron, I mean, so they're probably, I don't know how big of a company they are, but I'll bet you their engineers are probably hard at work on some of those military contracts, and I guarantee if they're working for the U.S. military, they're no doubt working for the French military as well. And so, gosh, we'll never know that whole story. But
yeah, that's a good point. Hopefully, the next CEO decides that this CEO gets fired after a year, and the new guy wants him back.
Yeah. The overriding point for me, though, is that we love our DJI drones. I love DJI. I love their drones, but you need competition, and Parrot was a great competitor in that field. So who's going to replace them? Obviously we've got our own homegrown Skydio. That's a great drone, but it's also a little bit different. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. And then, as was mentioned earlier, I think the FIMI X8 SE is a competitor. I can't quite put the Xeno 2 in that category because of some of its issues. It's close. It's really close, and hopefully they'll improve it. But none of them are the overriding, Ron, I think you said it earlier today, and I'll let you talk about their lineup.
Yeah, we're going to in a second, but we have Lauren Adana wants to jump in on here. He's got some thoughts about you're buying your first drone. So let's get Lauren's thoughts. So we're going to pull him right in now. Lauren, welcome to the show tonight. How are you? How's everything in beautiful Canada?
Freaking hot.
Well, it's not too hot. You've been getting some beautiful photos lately.
I know you guys find it hard to believe that we actually do get hot in Canada, but right now it's about 90 degrees outside.
90?
Yeah.
Oh, and 90.
And that's
Fahrenheit. Yeah.
Yeah, that's 90 Fahrenheit. Yeah. I translated for you.
Well, what's it in Celsius?
36. 35. 36.
35. Good one.
Yeah. So anyway, it's nice and cool down in my studio here, but yeah.
You saw my notes when I set up for the show tonight. I said, crank up the AC and pour yourself a cold drink before the show starts. Everybody's hot this time of year. There you go. Oh, he's got a real cool one.
Ready.
Yeah, I just wanted to make one important point. I kind of made it in the chat there, but if you're encouraging somebody to get into drones or they ask you about getting into drones, don't recommend the cheapest thing they can buy, because if they buy something and it turns out to be a bad experience, what's the chances of them actually pursuing the hobby? If they buy something and it flies real bad, it's not something that they're going to want to pursue, because they're going to make that judgment because it's their first experience, and they're going to make their judgment on that first experience. So if you're going to recommend a drone, whether it's DJI, a Xeno, whatever, but make sure you're going to recommend something that that is going to work. Don't recommend the $55 drone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's what I meant by that though, because when I bought this thing, it was new at the time, and it was so hard to fly that I was just out of the hobby for years. I was hobby.
Yeah, exactly.
Years.
Yeah, and you know that when you get a hold of a good drone, it's kind of like exciting, and you want to fly more. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I was kind of getting at, Lauren, is that I keep looking though for one. So for me right now, the bottom that I would recommend for somebody that is looking for a GPS camera drone is the original Hubsan Zeno. I would never tell them to buy anything lower down the ladder than that. But what I also recognize, Lauren, is that there's a lot of people that just, they maybe can't afford much more than that. So that's kind of like why I like to kind of explore some of those cheaper ones. And someday I just hope to find one that doesn't have to have a lot of range, doesn't have to have a great camera, but a decent camera that's stable and a drone that's stable.
Yeah. Well, and just my thoughts is, you can show them those drones and you can recommend those, but be fair about the comparison. Say, show them what something higher can do.
Oh, of course.
And you say, look, this is a starter drone. Not all drones are like this. And over time, if you enjoy this, remember where you're at, baby steps. And once you find out that this is for you and it's something you want to do, it's only going to get better as your drones get better.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Totally agree. And to your point, Lauren, if somebody told me that, hey, I want to buy a GPS camera drone and I've got $800, I'm going to send them straight to that Mavic Air 2.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, because like when you're 16 years old, most people get the Pinto, they don't get the Ferrari. That's real life.
Right.
But you after he's driven the Pinto for a while and decides that, hey, I like driving, then they're going to save for the next level up. Right?
Hey, but Lauren and guys, that's what I meant about the Mavic 2 and the Air 2. So I had the Mavic 2 before the Air 2. So like if I would have switched that around and had the Air 2, after a couple of months, I'd be wondering, how good is that Mavic 2? And then I go out and buy it. And then I figure out, the Air 2 is better than the Mavic 2. Flies better. The camera's better on the zoom. I mean, the Air 2 camera is better than the zoom camera. But like the Mavic Pro cameras that, better too. But,
and you're totally right. It's like, because like I've got both, and it's funny because I find myself more grabbing my Air 2 now than I do my Mavic 2 Pro. And it's because it's similarly capable, but when I get into serious photography type stuff, which, hey, that's me. I'm not the videographer guy. And that's why, like, people that go to my YouTube channel, you're going to be sorely disappointed because I'm a photographer first. But if I'm doing serious photography, no, I'm going to grab the Mavic 2 Pro every day.
Yeah.
Right. But that being said, Lauren, I come from a photography background before I got into drones. No video, all pictures. And for years, sometimes I'll be at a location like the Grand Canyon or Yellowstone. And years past, I used to take a picture with the cell phone and the camera both because then I had the GPS location doing it with the cell phone years ago. And sometimes I get home and I'm happier with the picture I took with the cell phone than I was with the Nikon full frame. I mean, not even most time, but once in a while I got it better in the little camera.
Yeah. I mean, back to what we were saying about as far as was recommending. I mean, as someone who I know who has that kind of money, the Air 2. I would skip the Mini and get the Air 2. But most people I've talked to, their kids want a drone. I tell them if your kid wants a drone, I wouldn't. I mean, it depends on how old he is too. Like going to Walmart, Walmart or Target, wherever, it just kills the whole experience of what you could get from the Vizio XS with Vizio XX 16 or 12 markers we talked about.
Yeah, the 812. Yeah.
Yeah, that one. I mean, that's so much better. Or the Xeno, or the Bugs. I mean, it's just
I hate to see it, but I've actually gone through 50 drones.
That sounds like a website. I've gone through 50 drones.
Yeah. But my first decent camera drone, and it was decent for its time, and that was just about the same time as they came out with the Phantom 1. It was a Blade 350 QX3. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it.
We hear a lot about that drone nowadays. It was a lot of people's first drone. Michael Wright, who's in chat here with us, saying, I believe that was his first drone. He still has it.
Sean Oz as well, right?
Sean Oz too, yeah, but I don't think his is flying anymore. Michael Wright still flies.
Yeah,
I used to. That was my first serious camera drone. I played around with those. It was first RC helicopters, and then I got into the quads and stuff like that. And then I kind of thought that was kind of cool, and it flew pretty good, especially for its time. It was actually very good. My biggest problem was that the camera, there was just way too much fisheye on that. So
right,
yeah,
right. Well, that was a big staple in the early days of drones. Even the Phantom 1 had the GoPros on it with the fisheye look.
Yep. And then the Phantom 2, like that was like wow, you know.
Right.
Lauren, I'm gonna. You came on the show, so I'm gonna put you on the spot. When's it gonna work with the MA2?
I already made that announcement last week. If you missed it, too bad, so sad.
Oh, Lauren, come on.
Oh, dude.
Actually, if you missed my comment earlier tonight, DJI released a new SDK today.
I saw that.
And I think Ron made mention that, or maybe it was you. I'm not sure who, Marcus or Ron, but somebody made mention of it being for the Mavic Mini. Sorry, it was Bill. But no, it covers all the ranges, and that's the first step. So I suspect probably within a week to 2 weeks will be likely for the release to get the compatibility.
Wow.
So
Well,
it's late. It's supposed to be late this month or early next month, is all I know.
so my next question is, how long do you think it'll be before DeMarco buys one then?
Hours.
I was just gonna say he's gonna pull a Marcus and he's gonna burn up the buy button.
Yeah, right on screen. Yeah.
Huh. We were talking about cameras and affordable drones. Well, back to the Anafi. I mean, the Anafi has its faults with range and things like that, but the camera, if you purchase this, used refurbished, you would have a better camera on all the other affordable drones we talked about. Better than the Fimi XA, better than the Mavic Mini, and better than all these other drones we talked about for again right now under $400 probably.
Lossless digital zoom.
Yeah,
Camera will look up.
raw photos.
You never see the props in the frame.
21 megapixel camera.
Yeah.
So again, if you want to get on cheap, but photos are your most important thing, this is going to beat the other the budget drones out there.
Yeah.
Thanks, Bill. Hey, here.
In a way,
Just about like the drones that we mentioned. What's bad about it is no one's going to know about those drones unless they do some real research, or if they meet somebody who knows. I mean, like you're never going to run across a Fimi XA XS12. See it at the store.
Well, that's another great point.
Yeah.
Where you will a DJI drone.
Oh yeah. A DJI drone, maybe a Parrot, maybe, but I mean, like you're not. you're not going to run across those.
Right.
Unless you know somebody, that
Yeah.
knows about it though. So.
Hey, while we got Lauren here, let's talk about what Marcus wanted to talk about a few minutes ago. Now that Parrot's out of the consumer, drone business. Of course, we know DJI. We know their whole line of drones. That's all well known. We talk about them forever. But who are the remaining competitors to DJI in the consumer drone industry? I know, Marcus have never had an Autel product, but DeMarco's had the Autel Evo 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you were pretty happy with that drone, right?
I still get it. Oh yeah. Well, listen, I've been happy with it. It's a year now, and about a month ago, I downloaded the new app, and it just killed that drone. I mean, the app keeps crashing on me while I'm flying, and the only saving grace is that the Evo controller has a screen on it, so I can switch over quick to it. I mean, but it's been almost unflyable since that new app came.
I know you're not the only one. Brian Singleton, True Drone Reviews, is complaining about the same thing, that the update that came about because the Evo 2 kind of ruined his Evo 1. But the difference between DJI and a company like Autel is they basically make one drone. Now, I know there's a couple different versions of the Evo 2 now. It's a Pro and a regular, and they have Enterprise. But they only make really one drone, the Evo. They don't have a line of drones and price points that vary a lot. What about the other companies out there? Does anybody know anything about, say, Unique? Are they still in the consumer drone space?
Well, that's debatable.
I agree with Lauren. I mean, they've got that Mantis Q or Z or whatever it is.
Marcus, I did the research before the show. They have the Mantis G is their latest little foldable drone. But try to buy a Mantis G. You cannot find one on Amazon. You cannot find one on eBay. You cannot search the internet and find a Mantis G drone for sale.
I'll tell you, I know somebody that's a fan of that drone, and he's in the chat. Daniel Taramina has got one.
Right. He's got it.
Yeah.
Now, is that the one with with the gimbal?
That's the one with the gimbal. It's the Q. It's the Q that has electronic stabilization, but it's the G that has the I believe it's a 3-axis gimbal.
And they weren't cheap, right? They were $600-700 for that.
I think it was $699. Yeah.
So if you're talking that money, of course, you get back to what? The Mavic Air 2.
Yeah.
Back to the original topic of the show. I'm really disappointed personally to see the Anafi get out of consumer.
Yeah.
It's we need that. We need good quality, and the Anafi is, despite a few shortcomings on it. The build quality, it could be a little bit better, but overall, it's a good drone.
Have you flown one, Lauren?
What's that?
Have you flown one?
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, the flight controls are butter smooth. They remind you of DJI, don't they?
Yes. Like I say, a few shortcomings. Like the build quality is, as you know, it's not as sturdy as what we're used to with something like a DJI.
Correct.
And the other issue, of course, is the range. And but the thing being is we need as much competition in the consumer industry to drive the industry forward. Otherwise, if you're number one, why try harder? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, and that begs the question, Laura, where do you see the main competition coming for DJI that's going to keep them on top of their game for the next couple of years in the consumer space?
V-copter.
Somebody's been talking about it in the chat tonight. I think somebody I think has it on order.
Sorry, I just had to do it. No, I honestly thought Anafi was going to really do something, but by the looks of it, and I'm curious because I think they may change their mind on whether or not they get out of consumer, depending how much reaction they get out of their announcement. You know,
Right.
And it wasn't even much of an announcement.
Well, the CEO can change that.
A reporter had to pull it out of the CEO at an event, so it wasn't like he was volunteering this. He had to be asked the question.
Or another CEO can change his mind. Change his mind. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, the market's changed, no doubt. But you know, wouldn't it be fun if Skydio kind of expanded their line of consumer drones? You know, that would be really fun to have a domestic drone company working on things like that. And of course, I think the other flip side of that is obviously they announced that they've got a bunch of commercial and military contracts, and it seems like they're pushing that way too. And I'm sure profit margins are much higher in that area, and you don't have to put as much into marketing and etc. So who knows?
Do you see Skydio pushing DJI in the consumer market, or do you see them eventually fading away to the enterprise market also, like Anafi?
Myself, personally, I think with the new features that they've recently announced, and I say announced because let's wait and see if the rubber meets the road. But with the new features that they've announced, they're that puts a little bit of pressure on. And anybody that's not really familiar with Skydio, they're a great software company that just happens to build drones.
Exactly. You nailed it.
If you're familiar with that, if you can build a software, somebody can build the hardware, right? Now, is it going to be in the price point that most people can handle? Well, that remains to be seen. But they've got such good coders there that they could, if they decide to stay in the consumer end, they could just make real pressure on DJI or any other drone company for that matter.
Yeah. They absolutely could. I totally agree with that statement. But the point of it is, will they?
Guys, hey, let me say this. I don't want to ruin the party, but what just popped into my head is maybe they are getting out of this because they just see the writing on the wall with a remote ID, and how that could be crushing our hobby, and they just figure that the market's not going to be there because, you know, like some of us won't be flying anymore. Yeah.
DeMarco, you had to ruin the party, huh?
I think they call
I hope it's not true
on the parade.
I hope it's not true, but if it was such a large, customer base, why would they leave it? I mean, something's going on. Yeah.
Well, then if that happens to Marco, I'm moving to Canada where I can fly my Mavic Mini all day long.
Well, I'm moving to Canada only during the summertime. I see you in the winter.
Yeah, hey Marcus, tune in this week because we're talking about all kinds of stuff like that on my show. But yeah, I'm wondering if you guys aren't reading too much doom and gloom into what you're hearing. To be honest, just as a third-party outsider, like it was going to be the end of the drone industry when we brought in our new regulations in June of last year. To be honest, it was the best darn thing that ever happened to us. It is so good. It actually opened up more places that we can legally fly. And yeah, there's a lot of people complain about, I got to get a license now. Well, in a basic license, if you can't pass that, then breathing is probably an option for you.
And you probably shouldn't be flying. Yeah, that's a good point.
And it's basically kind of like getting a boating license. I don't know if you guys have to get boating license down there.
We do.
Yeah, but it's more or less just it's like getting a boating license. It's not much tougher depending on which level of license. And we got a recent thing going on in my group, that we're chatting about this garbage video that was put out by a certain unnamed individual that was just totally off about Canadian regulations. But we've got two levels of licensing. You've either got a basic or an advanced. And that'll be, for you guys, it'll be like a hobbyist or a 107. And with the basic license, you can fly in uncontrolled airspace. Or if you got your advanced, you can fly literally anywhere, right? And then the best part of it, under the new regulations, the sub 250s, Mavic Mini, you can literally fly anywhere. You could actually fly it on airport property. Oh. The only regulations you have to follow is you don't fly to endanger aircraft or people. That's the only regulations that cover the Mavic Mini. So my understanding is that the FAA is looking at the model that Canada has done, and like you guys are hearing about how you guys will have to get a license, doesn't matter, right? I'm hearing that they're going to be following a similar type of model.
So, Lauren, that would be awesome. Here's the only thing that I'm objecting to is the remote ID part of it, where they want to know every time you take your drone up and where you're flying and all that. Now, if I'm in controlled airspace, I absolutely understand why they would want to know that and absolutely agree with it. But if I am out in BFE on the Snake River, nobody needs to know where I'm flying my drone out there, as long as I'm following rules and regulations. And so that's the part of it that bothers me. And my fear is that if we end up having to pay for fees for all that tracking and so forth, I mean, not that it would probably stop me, but I think it would a lot of people.
Yeah, and I totally agree. And not only that, but the part, and I don't know, I haven't read through everything yet. I'm kind of working on it as I have the time, but I still haven't found it in what I've read so far, where they're going to require the pilot's location.
It's confusing as heck, Laura.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If they require the pilot's location, that's a no-go for me. That's like no way.
Yeah.
Hey, Laura, we have a fellow Canadian on here. I don't know which province he lives in, Gorilla Man. He's saying not true, Lauren. You cannot fly the Mavic Mini anywhere, subject to say rules, just no registering.
Actually, Gorilla Man, you are totally wrong. The only thing that covers the Mavic Mini is 900.06. And if you read the regulations, 900.06 in brief states that you do not fly to endanger aircraft or people. If you believe anything else, you are incorrect. Please read the Transport Canada CARS 900.
And why I say that is because every show I'm on, whenever anybody gets talking about the rules in Canada, the debate goes on and on and never seems like it ever gets settled. It's like the great unknown for us in the U.S., the Canadian rules.
Well, unfortunately, like I say, I'm pretty familiar with it, and I work quite frequently with Transport Canada, so I'm pretty well versed on that. So.
Thank you. And thanks for the uplifting thoughts on the new FAA rules for the U.S. because, as you said, Laura, down here it's gloom and doom. Everybody's counting down the days where they can't fly their drones anymore.
Yeah, no, it's like I say, definitely get your input in. If you don't complain about it or you don't do any input, then you have nothing to bitch about. But the thing being is, until you see something a little bit more concrete, at least in my mind, it's all hearsay. Yeah. Right?
Hey, we got another question from Bridge Flyer 32. He said, what's the Canadian version of the FAA called?
Transport Canada.
Transport Canada. Thank you. You've said that a couple times. Thanks for clarifying that.
I mean, for me personally, I'm not worried about the authorities seeing where I'm at. I mean, I'm not worried about that. I'm not doing anything wrong though. But just like you were saying, I don't want anybody with an app just to come find me or to see my name and to see where I live at. That's not right. Like we can't do that with license plates. You know, I just can't go look up somebody's license plate.
You're so right, DeMarco. Is that that analogy has been used many a time. Is you can't, Joe Blow can't look up your license plate and find out where you live. So why should the drone flyer be subject to that? And I totally agree.
Yeah. I mean, like you're just asking for something to happen. Asking for it.
Yeah, and you know, Michael Wright's talking about commercial getting the Part 107. So, and that's I just think, honestly, most of us should get the Part 107 in the U.S. And I know I'm studying for it. And I know Ron is too. And DeMarco probably already has his.
No, I have mine. Not yet.
Well, for an FSU grad, it'll be no problem to.
Yeah. But
it's not Harvard. It's not Harvard.
Yeah.
So let's see. Girl Man said he's in Ontario. Is that anywhere near your province, Lauren?
Other side of the country.
Other side of the country. Yeah.
It's not quite as far as you and me. Well, it probably is. Probably is about as far as you and me, Ron.
No. We're much closer.
Okay.
Like I think we're about maybe 400 miles apart, roughly.
Oh, is that all?
Yeah.
I gotta look at my map. I'm embarrassed.
Hey, Marcus, it's a day trip if the border's
Shit, I'm embarrassed, Lauren.
Google Maps.
Oh yeah, trust me, I'm on Google Maps right now. No, it's a lot further than that. Yeah, I was gonna say, dude, I just thought, boy, my geography isn't that bad.
Hey, it doesn't matter.
About a few minutes ago, Lauren. Besides DJI, is there any other consumer drone company that has a variety of models? Because it seems like most of the competitors have one drone, like the Evo or the Sky, or it doesn't seem like any dog has a line of consumer drones.
And that lies the problem is because of the fact that you're right. Most are one-hit wonders or one what do you call it? One pony show, and they need to get good enough and build enough capital to start putting out a second drone or a third drone, right? And once they do that and have a good variety of out there, you know, it's like right now DJI's kind of got it covered, you know, from the Mini to the Air 2 to the Mavic 2 Pros, you know, or the Mavic 2s, I should say. And if another company can cover that kind of a range, then they are going to build enough capital to be serious competition. But again, this is where I kind of think Skydio is going to do well because they've got the software. They just need the hardware.
Right.
So,
Okay, Lauren, to answer your question, about 2,100 miles. Ain't no day trip, brother.
Oh, it's a day trip. I'll sleep the first half of the way.
The first half.
Yeah, I guess Unique came the closest because they had they had the bigger Typhoon drone and they had some of the smaller Manuses and used to have that other small ones. I guess they're the only other one that had like kind of different size drones.
Yeah.
Well, it's even like I say, one of the first serious ones that I got into was the Blade, and like Blade has got just a ton of different models. Even to this day, they've got a bunch of different models, and but most of them are what I consider the toy class, right?
Right.
Yeah. But having all those different models is what enabled them to raise the capital and stuff to build the bigger drones. So, you know, by not diversifying, I think that's where a lot of companies are falling short.
Yeah, I mean, true. You don't see like I don't know, like somebody making a cell phone and that's the only device they make or whatever. Usually, your companies Apple and Samsung, they make a variety of products, not just one thing.
Ron, what about Hubson? They got multiple drones, a 501 and all that. And
again, they're kind of like unique outside the Xeno series. I wonder if they're still like, if they have those old drones around, it's not like they're upgrading or improving them. Those old drones, you still see them listed on the websites, but I don't know what their availability is, if they're just selling old stock or they're still making those, or I really don't have any idea. I mean, I know you don't see the 501 get updated with a new camera or new this, that, or whatever. It seems like the same exact model from 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, and so Ron, I mean, they are expanding a little bit, and DeMarco. I mean, obviously the Xeno 2 was part of that, and it looked really promising, and it's got a few issues. So if they keep going that direction, maybe at some point they could be, but they've got a long ways to go, and their quality and customer service have a long ways to catch up.
I'm glad you brought that up, Marcus, because I wanted to add this to the story. The Hubson 2 app just got updated this weekend, and it added the Xeno 2 Plus and the Xeno Pro Plus to the controls. So I guess those products are real controls if they're in the, in the application now.
Hey, Ron. So after you talked about that earlier, I did some more investigating. They are claiming now, if you go on Hubson's website, this kind of blows my mind, but with the Xeno Pro Plus, it's got a new, they put a 5,000 milliamp battery in it now, and it's a smart battery. That's the difference between the old Pro and the Pro Plus. They're claiming 43 minutes of flight time.
Oh, well, we all know what that means.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying what they're saying. 43 minutes cruising at slow speed, 40 minutes in a hover. I don't know.
Wow. And, we talked earlier about, companies making one drone. I mean, we talked about FEMI and the XA a lot, but what was their other drone, the A3?
Yeah. And
which they seem to not have done anything with in a long time. So essentially, they're a one drone company now.
I thought they had that big drone too, the M4 or the 8.
The Me Drone 4K, and I actually used to have one of those, DeMarco.
But as far as I know, nothing's been done to that drone in years. It's the same.
No, it's discontinued. You can't buy a new one now, and it was buggy as all get out. It was really buggy, and the A3 was really buggy. The FEMI, the X8 SE, is the best one that they've come out with. But to your point, Ron, is their production also seems to be sketchy. It seems like they'll make a batch, they'll ship them all out, and then they're literally unavailable for months. Then they'll make another batch and ship them all out. It's not like you can go to FEMI's website like you can DJI's website.
Just order it
and know that it's going to be at your house in 2 days. Know that there are customer service people that are going to take care of you after sale. So that's the difference. That's another big difference there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like companies like Hubson and FEMI both, it's almost like when you do these pre-orders, it's like a Kickstarter. You're sending that money so they can start making them.
I wonder about that with FEMI. That's almost what it seems like, doesn't it? Yeah, I don't really know, Ron, but that's a good point. Yeah.
You see,
before the 2020 came out, they exhausted their stock of 2018 version about mid-year, and you just couldn't get one.
Yeah.
You just couldn't get one.
Sean and Lauren are having a conversation about the Blade, and Sean said that he preferred the Blade to the early Phantoms.
Yep, agreed. And like I say, that's why I went with the Blade QX3 because it had a camera with it, whereas the early Phantoms didn't. You had to buy the GoPro separate because that was kind of like what you used.
Yep.
When was this going? What was the year?
Oh, yeah, I'm thinking about 2013, 14.
I mean, it wasn't that long ago. It wasn't like
Oh, you had your parent before then, DeMarco.
yeah.
You had the AR drone.
DeMarco, you're a trailblazer.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. You started this whole drone fad.
Sharper's Image. Yeah, that's where she got it from.
Hey, did you guys see?
Michael Wright says he got his in 2014.
Okay. And Jim from Above and Beyond Drone says he's still waiting on his V-copter. Maybe he does have that order in.
I don't think we're never going to see that. I mean, it's been months. They haven't said anything about that. No.
Well, Marcus saw it at CES.
Yeah.
Marcus floated CES.
I didn't fly it, but Lauren saw it at CES as well.
Which one? CES.
Which one was that?
The V-copter.
V-copter.
Lauren, how to fly at CES?
It didn't.
Well,
it didn't.
Yeah.
No.
Now, ask another drone you like from CES. The bigger drone that kind of like a cross between a Phantom and a Inspire drone that a company that makes one drone makes. It had like a real nice camera on it, maybe interchangeable.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry, I can't come up with
the carbon fiber one. Is that what you're talking about? The Evolve.
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any updates on the Evolve? Is it going to ship this year or?
It's supposed to. Personally, that was the drone that actually impressed me the most. Were you flying, or was it flying next to you at all, Marcus? Or did you fly?
I did hear it. It was very quiet.
Oh yeah. Like I was standing about 5 feet away, and there was noise in the room, but man, that thing was so quiet. So
did you see what Stephen Ewing is saying about the V-copter?
I'll go down. Let me go down.
He's the most recent one. It's just waiting for a couple more props, and then they'll ship them.
Honestly, when you look beyond the unique design of that, which is that's a big selling feature, but if you look beyond the unique design, the camera is mediocre at best.
Yeah,
like that's old school. It's a Mavic Pro, the original Mavic Pro quality, if that. So, you've got claimed 50-minute flight time, but other than that, what have you done for me lately?
Yeah.
And that's what they were hanging their hat on, I think, Lauren, was that flight time. Yeah. I don't know.
But did you guys see that video a couple of months ago of it testing? I think it was testing indoors. Did you see that video?
I missed it.
It was wobbly, swinging all around. I mean,
what, you actually see it fly?
Yeah. There's a video online of it.
Okay, no, because
there's in a room, a big room, and they're flying the V-copter, and there's a net up under it, and they were going back and forth really quick, and it was wobbly. Yeah,
because basically at CES, as close as they had it flying as they had it literally attached to a turntable, and they would use the drone's propulsion to make it turn left and right. Like
it was on a turntable. It was the damnedest thing you've ever seen. Yeah.
Dale Fowler's asking about the egg drone at CES. What was the name of that egg drone, Marcus?
The power. Oh gosh, the Power Vision 2
and that actually shipped.
It did, but they had all kinds of quality issues, and there's I just don't even see it as a practical. It's just like what Lauren was saying about the V-copter. The camera on the thing is maybe equal to the original Mavic Pro, maybe not even that. Plus, it's this big thing, and you got to attach the arms, and and so they hang their hat on that waterproof thing. It had a cover on it. Well, if you fly the thing in the rain, all you see is raindrops. There's no windshield wiper, so it's not like you see anything.
Yeah.
Then they have pontoons. You can land it on a lake, but wait till the first good wave comes along. So I don't know.
Yeah, it had so many. It did so many different things that it didn't do one thing good. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You know,
and the first guys that got them, the battery melted the plastic, and yeah.
Well, not just that, but that shell, right? That's one thing extra you got to carry with it. So if you want to fly in the rain,
right.
So now our pack is getting bigger, right? You want the pontoons? Well, the pack's getting bigger, you know. But not only that, but that polycarbonate shell, just like Marcus said, you get raindrops on it, then guess what you're going to see on your video? Raindrops. Right?
Well, plus I've heard people say it fogs up too. So
yeah.
There you go.
Or what happens if it gets scratched?
Yeah.
You know?
I would put some Rain-X on that.
Yeah,
there you go.
You get that thing mounted up or whatever. Yeah. Marcus, maybe when the V-copter's on Woot for like $200, maybe I'll pick one up.
There you go. Yeah, when they're trying to blow them out, you know, just for
a novelty.
Yeah, the novelty.
Right.
I just found a video of it flying there.
Hey, so I wonder if it'll do a 180. So the props are here. I wonder if you can flip the camera clear around.
Yeah. If you type in a V-copter, it'll come up.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Yeah. Whew.
Well, do you think V-copter would be the challenger to DJI we've been looking for, Lauren?
You want to know something? Buy something that's within your budget that is going to make you happy. Whether it's DJI or FEMI or whatever. But buy something. Don't go broke trying to have the best drone that you can. Have the best drone that you can have right now.
Yeah.
So can I summarize this conversation? The fact is, there really is no full line competitor for DJI right now, and none of us see anything close on the horizon.
Does anybody see an up and coming drone company that'll be a player in the next few years?
I'm going to throw a little fly into the ointment that has totally messed things up that a lot of people don't realize happened about 3 months ago. And a lot of the YouTubers and stuff got their secret inside information was from their filings, from company filings. And to get their patent filings, that all changed about 3 months ago, and now they only are required to do those filings 24 hours before release. Whereas before it was, a sufficient amount of time, but it's got to the point now they only have to do their filings 24 hours before release. So people wondered, how did Skydio sneak these in and nobody noticed the patent releases? Well, that's how, because they did a filing the night before they did the release, and by then it was like, too bad, so sad. It's there, it's in the market, it's in your face, so
it's an amazing product.
What everybody has on the stove, nobody's going to know anymore. So
right, so things are going to be more interesting. Like, wasn't there a story recently by, I'm going to call it one of the big drone news outlets, where they showed a patent for what they thought was the DJI Mavic 3, but then it turned out to be a patent from 2017 that was probably for the Mavic 2 series.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about, because I posted it in my group with my comment, and I said, I don't think so, Tim. And, it's just like you said, Ron. It was an old filing, but they made a few changes to that filing, and all that was in a direct result of the lawsuit that they recently went through. So they did a clarification in their filing just to make sure that they don't have any problems in future.
The lawsuit over the propellers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So they did that just like say for clarification. Somebody seen that filing and went, "Woohoo, Mavic 3."
Yeah. Somebody thought they had the scoop of the year, huh?
Yep.
And they had nothing.
After I'm going to name drop. I'm sorry, I'm not under contract. But after Haya left, that
other newsletter
has kind of gone downhill. So.
Yeah, Drone DJ. Yeah.
We weren't going to say it, Marcus.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
When the lawsuit comes in, send it to DeMarco.
No, I want to keep my per diem. No.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Lauren, what the International Drone Seeker show was it, Marcus, that Lauren's name kept popping up on? Was it like last week or the week before?
Yeah, I think last week. Lauren, you're known worldwide.
Lauren has been burned as
Worldwide
drone.
It's funny because Ron made that comment. So I went and I watched that show, and I'm kind of going, where the H do these people know me from? You know, like I'm just a small town boy.
Listen, I can tell you a little bit, Lauren. So one of the guys on Drone Seekers International, Terry Hawes, is planning a trip to Canada, and he was asking me.
Oh, he's the one who was asking all the questions about the regulations, and nobody could answer them correctly for him. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I know just enough to be dangerous, and I answered what I could, but I also referred him to you, Lauren, to look at some of your stuff. So that's probably where some of that came from.
Yeah. Well, it's like I say, like our show this week is going to be dealing with a lot of the regulations. Like I say, myself, and I'm actually bringing in a specialist because I know it a lot, but the person that I know or that I'm bringing in this week knows it all. Okay. The organization that she was the president of, they actually were advisors to Transport Canada for all things drone, current and past. So, cool. Thanks, Stephen. Sorry, I just read his comment there. But Kate, she is, if you ever need to know anything about drone, she is most knowledgeable on everything that's going on in Canada and everything that's coming in Canada. And not only that, she's just a hell of a nice person.
Good. I'll check it out.
So anybody that wants to get the real skinny on flying drones in Canada, this is a show to watch then. Yeah.
Well, not necessarily, but we do our best. My group is basically, we normally accept only local people, and that's not bad because we're up to around 750 people in the group.
That is good.
Part of what we do is we encourage safe and legal flying. So that's part of why I try and keep up on anything that's happening regulation-wise. So for Gorilla, trust me, I know not the Cars 900 inside and out. So
maybe he could pop in on that show since he's not really. He's local to Canada, but not too. Yeah. Stephen Yoon dropped a comment. He says, Lauren, you are known here in Ireland by the local drone community also. So you're big in Ireland too.
I'm going to blush.
Do you have many Irish people in Canada?
I'm not sure how it gets out there, but I just try and promote the sport in the industry. And, I've got some awesome contacts that try and help me out wherever they can, and I really appreciate everything. And whether I'm on shows like this or whatever, I appreciate the input, and I try and give you honest, fair feedback on anything that I can.
So what you just touched on, Lauren, is what I love about the drone community is everybody is so willing to share what information they have when they have it. That helps us all. It's one of the more gratifying parts of the hobby.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Lauren and Marcus and Ron, I'll say the same thing for me. I mean, from the knowledge I know, I try to share it as much. And that's what it really bothers me when I see that stupid DroneX commercial. I see it every day, and I just get so mad when I see that, because some people fall for that probably. And buy that drone thinking that they're getting something good.
Oh yeah, the one where they make it, they fake like it's a Mavic or something, and it's junk.
The girl's hitting the drone.
Yeah.
I see that though. I just it's garbage.
Good point.
Okay, sorry, I'm at a loss here. I'm just reading Stephen Ewing's comment there. Even without thumb screws? What?
Maybe that's sort of an Irish term.
Okay. Yeah. Anyways, guys, sorry, I got to run.
That's good. Lauren, thanks for dropping in and helping us clarify a few points here tonight. We definitely appreciate it. You got anything else coming up on your agenda? You doing more photography this week or testing?
Yesterday I did 181 pictures. I don't know if you've seen the ones I released today, but I'm going to release this a few every day over the next week. And
do you post any of these pictures someplace where people could buy prints or anything?
Nope.
Okay.
I do my photography for me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not in it to make money. I've been doing photography for 45 years, and I've yet to sell a picture yet. If I have somebody that's a good friend, and they like a picture, boom, it's yours. I don't care. I'm not in it to make money. I'm not one of these people that wants or is able to get rich. I get by, and that's all I need to do. So,
well, it's good. We won't lose you when you become a big millionaire photographer. Then,
no chance of that happening. If I was to sell my stuff, I'd probably make some good money. So I'm told, but I'm not interested in that.
Right. It's a lot of work.
Lauren, send it to me. I'll sell it for you.
He'll be your manager.
Yeah. I'll be your manager.
You're the third person this week that has made that offer.
And DeMarco's not joking, since he practically runs Walmart.
Yeah.
He knows how to make money.
He's next in line as CEO.
Yeah. But you got to go, Lauren. So take care.
Nice meeting you for the first time, DeMarco. Nice meeting you for the first time, DeMarco. I've seen you on the show before, and hopefully we'll chat with you again soon.
Yes, sir.
Good night, Lauren.
I'm out of here. Night all.
Good night.
Night.
All right, gentlemen, that was great having Lauren drop in with us for a few minutes tonight. And I've been talking with Michael Wright behind the scenes here. We're trying to get him come on the show sometime, and he's been a big fan in the chat here for a long time. He adds a lot of great comments, not only this show, but the other drone shows. And we'd love to have him come on and bring that Blade Chroma on some night. Maybe we could even do a little Blade Chroma. In fact, maybe we can get Sean Oz to come on that show too and have both the Blade Chroma guys on that night. I'm throwing this all on them at live on the air, so it's not fair, but that would be interesting. I think Daniel Taramina, I think he said in there he may have had a Blade Chroma too. So there's some interest in the Blade Chroma, even though I've heard of it, and John Coopy had one. I've heard of it. I know more now about it than I did when it came out, but it seems to be a lot of interest in there. But any of you guys have anything you want to bring up before we wrap up this big show tonight?
Ron, I probably talked about all the stuff coming up on my channel. So, mostly just telling everybody to be careful out there. The virus is raging. We're probably in more danger now than we've ever been. So just take care of you and yours. And
yeah, I'm going to stop you there for a second. We've been hearing in the news a lot that Idaho's getting it's really going up in the number of cases. Is that true?
It is. It's exploded here. As soon as they opened everything back up, which, you know, wouldn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out, it kind of exploded. So yeah, you just got to be careful. That's all.
Yeah.
Gotcha. DeMarco, how's the situation in Arkansas with the virus? Are your numbers up or down, or are they flat?
Well, the numbers are up from the opening, from not being open. Lately, the numbers are starting to flatten out, but they're still high. A big worry that we're worried about, and most of our neighbors are worried about, is school starting soon.
Right, and are all your kids in school now?
We have a 7-year-old, which you've seen him, and then the twins are in. They're just 3, so they're not in school yet. Though we all want our kids to go back to school. I don't want them to be home, but like you don't want it to go back and be not safe for them either. You know, like I home taught him for those 3 months he was at home, and that's a hard job. You know, working and doing that, it's hard.
Oh yeah,
but I mean,
even with that big FSU education.
Thanks, Rob.
No, I just give you a hard time because you're the only one that went to some big time famous college or whatever.
No, that's a public school. It's cheap to go there too, actually. So, which is why I went. So,
I guess the season's more impressive because they got a good football squad.
Used to anyway. When I was there, yes. Thanks now, so.
Huh. So yeah, okay. And in New Jersey, I mean, we were one of the worst states in the country back in I say April, but now you know we shut down. And even we opened back up, we only partially opened. So actually, we went from being one of the worst to we're one of the bottom of the list now as far as cases. So we've luckily flattened the numbers out here, but that you know, again, as we've seen that could change. But for right now, you know, we're in pretty decent shape. So. Thank you for staying through with this week in the coronavirus.
Oh, Brian, I'll tell you this. My sister, she's a nurse back in Chicago, and she actually had it. She actually had it and didn't know till after the fact.
Oh, no.
She said it was bad. She said she was feeling bad for a couple of weeks, and then she started to come out of it. And what I've said to my wife and anybody I can say is, like, even to get sick and have it and live is bad enough. You know,
yeah. I'm sorry to hear that. Has Chicago been hit pretty hard with the virus?
Yeah, it's been hit hard. Like she doesn't, she's not sure like where she got it from work or you know being out there though. But like she definitely had it though. So sad. Well, she's still with us. She's fine.
Thanks for the update. So let me do my usual promos before we sign off here. Tomorrow night. 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. He was in here earlier, but he had to leave. Bill, the drone reviewer, he'll be on at 8. I don't know who's going to be on the show tomorrow. Maybe it might just be him. But tune in. He'll probably have some updated news. You know, he's got all the latest news and rumors and so on. And then following that at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Philly Mike and Ron go live, and we never have a topic or any news or whatever. But tune in to see us anyways. 8:30 Eastern Standard Time on Wednesday. Tune in to see Coast to Coast Drone Therapy Show with Bill Thomas, myself, John B, Ethan Mitchell, Nemo, Cast of Thousands. And then don't forget, I'm going to go all the way to Saturday night, Arco Drones, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I believe I always get that kind of messed up, but Art's on. He always has a good show. He's got a beautiful new set now he's got behind him, and you know, tune in for that. And then don't forget Sunday night, I think it's 7 p.m. too. Mel Ford or AGL's got his live show, and then Monday at
back up.
I get at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the International Drone Seekers is on with a great cast featuring Marcus, Steve. What's Steve's last name?
Steve Gardner.
Steve Gardner.
Terry
Jack,
Hawes.
I don't know Jackie's last name.
Jackie Akers.
Akers and Terry Halls.
Yeah.
So don't miss that, and especially don't miss Terry Hall's show joke of the week. But you have to stay the whole show for that, so don't leave early.
I found this on the web.
A Siri's talking to me. Sorry. And don't forget Monday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Lloyd the Grumpy Vlogger is on, and Mel's usually his co-host, and Art's been on the show a lot lately, so don't miss that one. So I think I've covered most of the drone shows for the people in our community. And Lauren's show, I don't know if we advertise Lauren's show, but what time's his show on? Or you don't advertise it, right?
Thursday night, I can't remember. He doesn't advertise it much. He mostly plays it in replay on his Calgary Drone Club
right
Facebook page.
Right. So mostly for the local thing.
Yeah.
And I just did a review. I just dropped a review today on the Loom 2, the Loom Cube strobe anti-collision lights for drone. So see that, and I'll probably talk about it more on the Philly and Ron show tomorrow night, since we kind of talked about it last week. So we'll follow up a little bit on that. And I also got a follow-up review on the Tomat ND fillers I got for the Mavic Air 2. I did an unboxing already, but I got a chance to test some out in the field. Got some video for that, so that'll be coming up as soon as I can get the video all edited. So that guess what? Guess what I have coming in on Wednesday, Marcus and DeMarco? I have the Yagi and antennas for the Mavic Mini that increase the range.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
Yeah, we talked about, and I think we even showed them. I think we showed them on the Philly and Ron show. We talked about them a bunch. So that's coming in Monday.
Range test.
Right, yeah, the range test, and Philly Drone promises to come down to the shore sometime. So maybe we can even do a dueling range test or whatever. See if I can outrange the king.
Oh, we will see.
But we will see. So on that note, I want to thank everybody for being in the chat tonight. I'm sorry we didn't get to go through the names tonight. We were talking too darn much, but a lot of the regulars were in here, just people that are just support this show. I'm just sorry, Marcus, I didn't get to go through the names. It's too late now. A lot of people. Did we want to do the names this late in the show, Marcus?
Well, I'll be honest with you. You can, Ron. I'm going to have to leave. I've got a date with my wife.
You go ahead. I'm going to run the names off. DeMarco.
I need to ask a question of DeMarco real quick. DeMarco, are you good for next Sunday on International Drone Seekers?
This coming Sunday?
Yes.
What time is it for? What time is that for DeMarco?
Well, yeah, 2:00 DeMarco's time.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, you got it. And folks, thank you for stopping by, and we'll see you on the next one.
See you, Marcus. And DeMarco, they don't pay quite as good as this show. So you want to sit through me while I run through the names here?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, we had J.S. Kenner Prize with us tonight. We had Daniel Taramina, Cigar Nation Warriors. Bill was in here with us. Ian Fleming. Sam Burns was in here with us tonight. Mr. FemiX8 2020. Stephen Ewing, I think I got already. Chris Lauren was in here with us. FSU Grad 03 was in here. Greg Pittman joined us tonight. Good seeing you in here, Greg. We had Robert Glazer in here. Thanks for joining us. John Coopy was in here with us tonight. Michael Wright, of course, was in here like he is every week with us tonight. Sean Oz, thanks for dropping by. Brett Snook, thank you for dropping by and dropping a comment about the Anafi. We had Ridge Flyer 32 with us. We had BMAC Aerial Visuals from down there in Houston, Texas. Drone Shots Jody was in here with us. Bob Casey joined us. Again, I got Sam Burns. We have ARQ dot. I don't even want to mispronounce this guy's name here. I'm gonna call him ADFS. I don't want to butcher anybody's name here. Snafu was in here with us. Flying Fox. I'm scrolling back. Hubson's Choice was his, and he dropped some must be some camera firmware updates for the FIMI X8, and he dropped the camera specs in here. Thanks for doing that, Hubson's Choice. Appreciate that. Philly Drone Life, of course, was in here with us. Above and Beyond Drones, Jim was in here with us. Thanks for all the good information. Jim was at the CES like Marcus and Lawrence, so he had a lot of good info on the Evolve and Evolve 2 and some of the stuff they were talking about. The Lonely Range 01. I'm scrolling way back. Gorilla Man was in here with us. A lot of these guys had to run early. Not early. We talk forever. Some of those guys have a life. Dale Fowler was in here with us. He asked about the egg, and that's as far back as I can scroll. So sorry I didn't get to do that during the show. We just had a jam-packed show tonight. I didn't get a chance to get that in. I want to get better at announcing all the names. So thanks again for joining us, DeMarco. I know you got the kids and all and so on. So thanks for taking time out from your evening, and I hope you get a chance to fly. Did you fly this past weekend?
I did. I flew the Air 2 on Saturday and the Mavic 2 Zoom on Friday. So,
nice. Good. You got some good film footage, or
I did. Some good pictures I got. In fact, I have one on my screen now that I really like. Though that Air 2 is a good little bird. It's definitely a step up from the Air 1. I mean, not even close to it. It's way up.
Yeah, I mean, it can almost be a step up from almost any bird or whatever. And I know doesn't have as good as a camera as the 2 Pro, but I mean, but that what do you call that? Smart photo on that is so good, and
all that.
Yeah, and all that stuff. The HDR video, it sometimes could just be beautiful. I got a chance. I flew Saturday night, and I should have gone out Sunday night. It was kind of getting hot, and I was lazy. But it was a beautiful sunset Sunday night. And Philly Drone flew it from the other side, from basically the other side of New Jersey for me. And his video was gorgeous. I kind of see out the window, but by the time I saw how nice it was I kind of like too late to get down there by the water. But so don't be lazy in this. When there's good sunsets around, that's could be my closing thing. And like you were saying, lots of times I always grab that Mavic Air 2 now because it's real compact in that bag. I can just grab it and go whatever. It's a little more work to take the Mavic 2 Pro down there. But like you were saying, once the smart controller does start working with the Mavic Air 2, it's going to create the problem is how do I take that along? Yeah. It doesn't fit in the case. And I actually bought when I first got it, I actually bought a separate case for the controller because there was no case that held the Mavic 2 Pro and the controller when I first got it. But then shortly thereafter, they started making cases, and I got a case. But I have a little case just for the smart controller, so I guess I'll have to take that along, kind of a separate bag, but I won't be quite as mobile.
Yeah. What actually scares me about that, because I've been known to forget things. Having my drone case, and then I set the little thing down. I get up and walk back to the car and leave that there. That's why I'm one case. I mean, just so I'm not worried. So
here's an old story from a couple of years ago. I took a couple drones when I used to live at my other house on the other side of New Jersey. I went over to my local high school football field, like on a weekend or something when the kids weren't there. And I was flying to Spark another drone, right? And, I got done flying and I came home, and I was home for a while before I figured out, hey, where's my Spark at? Right. but this is already like December. So it was already cold. Like, in other words, nobody was out in this football field but me. I mean, it was fall sports were long over with. Nobody's messing around this field. So I drive back like an hour or two later, and it's sitting right in the bleachers where I left it, and it's like dark at this point.
Oh, you got lucky.
Yeah, I did, but I was at the time of year where it was so cold and it got dark already. Nobody was walking around there. You know what I mean? Like I was the only fool that was fool enough to be out in this whatever it was, football soccer field in the middle of December when it was freezing.
Yeah. Well, done something like that too. Like I went flying I had the Evo and the Mavic out there with the cases. I mean, so I took both of the cases out there and put them on the ground, and then I flew, packed up everything, loaded the drones back in. Thank God I loaded the drones back in. But I left my landing pad out there. I drove home. As soon as I got home, I realized it. It's only $30 though, but I was going back to get it though. But what scared me about it though is I'm driving back and the drones are in the back of the car, and I kept telling myself, wait a minute, did I pack the drones too? Did I packed the drones too? So I mean, luckily I did. So yeah, I mean,
when I take mobile stuff with me like drones, I try to keep everything in the car except what I'm flying at the time. So I may fly more than one drone, but I don't get them all out. They all sit in the car until I actually get to fly. So I don't have too many things out at once.
One at a time. I pack out, and then back.
Yeah.
So.
And I didn't get to fly tonight. It looked like a decent sunset tonight, but we had the show come up. Plus, it was 98 degrees, so it was still hot. It was still in the 80s when the sun went down. That's how hot it was today.
Man.
So,
Summer.
yeah, I mean, and we usually don't get as hot at the shore as the mainland does, because we're all on barrier islands here at the shore. So usually the temperature stays a good 5 degrees, 10 degrees cooler than the mainland, but not today.
Yeah.
Not today.
It is really humid here and just hot. Like before you know it, the fall will be here though. So I gotta get out there as much as I can before this Mavic 3 shows up, you know. So
yeah, and I'm right. And a darn thing, when the Mavic 3 will show up, when it gets too cold to fly it.
Of course.
Yeah, I don't know why they always does that with the why do they always release these good drones? Like the Mini. They wait all freaking summer sitting on the Mini because supposedly they could have put that thing out in June or whatever, and they release it in the middle of November, right when my weather's changing, right when my weather. I mean, not just changing. My weather's gone from okay to like you don't want to go outside. And that happens in 2 weeks. You go from it's still okay to you don't want to go outside anymore.
Yeah. Well, if they did it, if they introduced it, right late January or early February, and then it's all right though. It's coming out April 1st or something. Like we would wait for that. We wait a couple of months though, but like for them to do it around Christmas and then like release it in March or April, that's a long time to wait.
And I could kind of buy that for the Mini because maybe it did sell as a Christmas gift, right? But don't release the Pro drones like around that time because nobody's buying somebody the Mavic 2 Pro for their Christmas gift. I mean, I'm saying not nobody, but most people aren't buying something that expensive as a Christmas gift, but they may buy the Mini as a Christmas gift.
Yeah. Oh yeah. A lot of people did.
Yeah. I guess. Yeah.
I did.
It's just a shame, they said when they put a nice drone out, and for anybody that doesn't live in Florida or the warm states, like you don't get to fly it much for a long time.
Mm-hmm. I guess the winters here are mild compared to like Michigan, like where we lived at before, but it's still cold. I mean,
yeah, exactly. It's still cold and windy here, and the thing is, even though it seems like things are warmer than they used to, but all the warmth comes in the summer. Like the increase in warm doesn't help, like especially the spring. Like we need more warm in the spring, where the spring is just cold, and then in a matter of weeks it goes from cold to being too hot.
Yeah.
That rapidly. So it doesn't kind of balance itself out. But I'll tell you the truth, DeMarco, the problem with the Mini is it got in the winter, right? And then, but by when did the Mavic Air 2 ship to us? Like beginning of May?
May, yeah.
Yeah. So and my weather still wasn't that good when it shipped. So when it came in, now it's kind of the time of year to start flying a Mini, but the Mini sits on the shelf because the air is so darn good. Why am I flying a Mini?
Yeah, that's
I mean, Billy Kyle made this point on a show I was on with him. Billy Kyle said that Mavic Air is 2 times the price of the Mini, but it's 3 times the drone.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's just a great drone. But back to what what Marcus was saying. Like a lot of people don't have $800. I mean, like we all sort of just like, oh, $800 for a drone. But if you would have told me that 3 years ago, I would have been like, I'm not buying $300 for a drone. For me, like I just, like I started here and stepped up and stepped up and stepped up and stepped up. But it's hard to just I come out, and buy your first drone at $800. So, but let's see. That being said, I could see myself owning the Air first, and then wanting the Mavic 2 Pro after about a year or so, or months probably. I could see myself doing that though, because you always want something better. Always.
Yeah, what you could see it better. And here I'll tell you, my first really good drone I ever bought was the Phantom 4. And I believe it was $14.99 when I purchased it, whatever. So and of course I don't know if they may have had a fly more kit, but I just bought like the base kit. No, I just bought an extra battery or two. But the Mavic Air 2, of course, it's like almost twice the drone as that $14.99 Phantom 4.
Yeah.
For almost half the price. Well, not almost.
I love flying it. And
yeah.
Bought it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's and I would say if you had the money, I don't know, for a beginner, I don't know if it's any harder to learn than the Mavic Mini. I mean, you don't have to use all those features that it has. You could just put the video on auto and the photos on auto. It does it. All those features don't hinder you from learning how to fly it, and just getting basic started flying. It's probably no harder than the Mini. The controller's the same, the app's the same. I mean, you don't have to fly it in sport mode, so it's not that particularly, fast and wild if you put it in normal mode, right?
Hey, the best thing about it is you can fly it in wind.
Right. As a beginner pilot, you probably have less chance of losing this thing because it won't blow away in a wind gust.
Yeah. But what they're
go ahead.
I was going to say what DJI is hoping for is that you start with the Mini and then go to there and go to Mavic. I mean, that's what they're hoping for. Like every company wants that though. Buying a Ford, like they want you to start with the Ford Escape and then go to the Edge and go to the Explorer and then go to.
Yeah, but the only difference is when you go with those Fords, you sell the other one and move up. But a lot of people have the whole line of Mavics sitting in their on their cabinet. They have the Mini, they have the Air, they have a Mavic 2. So we're not trading the Fords in.
No. I mean, I still need to sell my Mavic Air too.
Yeah. In fact, Michael Wright makes a comment here. He says, I'll be selling my Mavic 2 Pro when the Mavic 3 is released. I mean, I get your point, Michael, but I won't, because I'm going to be doing the comparisons between the 2 and the 3. So I'll wind up selling drones that I don't fly anymore or whatever, to raise the cash. Like, I got drones sitting around here, I haven't flown in 2020. I'll be selling those, keeping the 2 Pro for a while, just so I can, do the comparison videos to kind of see, is the 3 really worth the upgrade? I mean, hopefully it is, but maybe it's not that big of an upgrade. Who really knows?
I think I'll probably sell my Mavic 2, but I won't sell it at first. I'll probably get the Mavic 3 and fly for a couple of weeks, and then I'll sell my Mavic.
I mean, it's a trade of thought where you sell the your other drone early before the new one comes out, then you'll get more money for it than if you sell it afterwards. Because if you wait too long, the market will be flooded with Mavic 2s and it'll drive the price down. And there's some truth in that.
Yeah, true.
There's some truth in that. Michael Wright has a Spark Combo Plus to sell right now. People still get money for those, those used Sparks. People still like the Spark, and lots of times when people are selling on eBay, they're selling extra batteries and a bunch of extra stuff to it. So even though that may, people say, I'll just get the Mini instead. But when you buy a used Spark in good condition, you get all the extra to go with it, probably for less money than you would pay for, a Mini with nothing but the Mini and the controller.
Yeah.
So Anyhow, I'm gonna let you go. I know it's only like it's almost 10, about 10 your time, but I know you're probably up in the morning early with those young children in the house.
Every day.
You don't get sleep in too often.
No, too often, ever. The next life, Ron, don't have twins.
You don't have to. Well, guess what? I've that ship sailed for me. So
the next life.
Yeah, the next life don't have the twins. Actually, though, my wife's youngest sister, she has twins. They're 12 now, and we used to watch them a lot when they were young. They used to be down here at the shore a lot. So do you have twin girls or twin boys?
One of each.
Okay, one of each.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
I guess that's the best. These were twin girls, so it was kind of fun watching them kind of grow up or whatever. But again, it's a lot more fun when you're the uncle than the father.
Yeah. All right, guys, see ya. Go home. They love to break stuff. Love it.
Yeah. Well, you stay safe out there, and I hope you guys figure out the school situation. They don't know what they're going to do in New Jersey about sending the kids back to school yet. I mean, the governor he's not going to force the kids to go back, but he's also not going to prevent them from going back.
Yeah.
So
here, like they're actually giving us a choice from homeschooling to part-time to full-time. So we will see. Like, they just passed the ordinance that all kids had to wear masks in school, so that helps.
Yeah. And it's just like if you followed this baseball thing just today, like what 8 Florida Marlins tested positive, and 2 of the coaches, they were just in Philadelphia, playing the Phillies for a couple of games, and they were going to go to Baltimore tonight and play, and that got canceled. But my point being, same thing could happen to schools. What if these kids go back and then they're only in there a few days and they're tested positive like crazy?
Well, yes, that's what's going to happen. Even like me being a big college football fan, same thing's going to happen there. Kids are going to start going back to school. The season's going to start, and then half the team's going to be out. I mean, so it's just this whole thing is just a mess.
What do you think what the NBA's doing, like that bubble thing in Orlando, where they're going to be in a bubble where they're only going to like interact with the other NBA players and the coaches and the refs and like baseball, they had the option during the bubble, but they didn't want that, so they're playing in these giant empty stadiums with cardboard fans.
I saw that.
Yeah. What's the point? Wouldn't it have been better to do what the NBA's doing, just have everybody in one city and have the people they come in contact with controlled very tightly?
Well, I think what the baseball thing, I'm not sure the season's not going to be 162 games though, but I think it's going to be 60 games or 70 games.
Yeah, basically.
I think with baseball, what they're worried about is just being cooped up for that long. For that long, and then like we're going to do that. Like Disney World has stadiums like that, or I mean, with basketball, it's a little bit more intimate there, whereas baseball, like you need a whole field to play it on. So
yeah, well, I mean, you could just they could just pick some kind of a minor league or of a college or whatever. I mean, they don't need to play the giant basically football stadium or whatever. What about the NBA? How many games are they going to play in this?
I don't know. I haven't
Orlando bubble.
I haven't followed that at all. My love for the NBA left when Jordan retired. So
did you watch the ESPN thing on Jordan and the Bulls?
I did. Yes.
I kind of missed it. I kind of want to catch it. Was it really that good? The people saw it.
It brought back a lot of memories because I was growing up then around that time, and some things I totally forgot about, like with Scottie Pippen being mad at the team. I totally forgot about that. Like when they started talking about it, I was like, oh yeah, I remember that. What was funny to see is like a lot of the local guys who I used to watch. Like back then, I didn't have cable. We didn't have cable though, but like we used to watch the local news. I mean, so like you'd be watching the press conferences, and but that's such and such from Channel 5, and such and such from Channel 7, and like all those guys are all retired now.
Yeah.
Old, or
Yeah. I know what you're saying. Nothing will ever be like that again for you, as far as being a fan, or they'll never be in the air like that again.
No, well, you know what? I mean, for us, probably no, but like for the next generation, they'll have their own thing to worry about, like with the LeBron James and all that. Like, he's a great player, but like he came after I was really like into it.
Right.
Basketball.
Right.
So he doesn't mean much to me now. I mean, he's great and everything, but like that same like feeling from Jordan I had, like he doesn't do it for me.
Yeah, and LeBron, and LeBron has jumped around to so many teams. It's not like Jordan, say Tom Brady, who did all this stuff with kind of mostly one team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, true.
Tom Brady, sort of like the Jordan of football, won all these titles and did it basically all on the same team. Even when the players changed a little bit, he still did it.
Yeah, true. I mean,
yeah, because basically there were like there was like the Jordan Bulls that won the first 3 titles were a little bit different than the Jordan Bulls that won the last 3.
Only player left was just Scottie Pippen. That's it.
Yeah. So they kind of rebuilt the team. Sorry, folks, we turned this into Sports Nation here, or whatever, and we're really going to get out of here now. I've been promised this for the last 15 minutes, so we already kind of said our good night. So great to have you back on the show. We got to get you on. No, don't let all this time pass again. So enjoy what's the rest of the summer. Hope you get some good. Next time you come back on the show, bring some drone video or pictures with you.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. All right. Good night. Good night, everyone.